Hey there, it's Melissa Brunetti, and welcome to the Mind Your Own Karma podcast. Hey there, Karma Crew. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Mind Your Own Karma Beyond the Bandage. I want you to know that if you pressed play on this particular episode, I know one thing about you. You are tired of surviving. You are ready to feel, to slow down, to finally get real with what's underneath the surface. And maybe, just maybe, find your way back to yourself. And today's conversation, that's exactly what your soul's been asking for. I am sitting down with Shawnti Refuge, Master Certified Mental Health Coach, keynote speaker, and author of the best-selling book, Quiet as Kept. Shawnti turned her own battle with deep depression and anxiety into a transformative healing method through guided journaling, a practice that goes way beyond writing down your thoughts. She's here to show you how intentional prompts can help you release old pain, connect to your truth, and shift your entire mindset without needing to have it all together. If you've ever felt stuck in survival mode, if you've been performing while secretly unraveling, if you've lost your voice and just don't know where to start, this episode will feel like a soft but powerful wake-up call. By listening to this episode, you just might be one listen away from a totally different life. Let's rip off the bandage and dive in. We are welcoming Shawnti Refuge to the show today. Hi, Shawnti.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. I know the Karma Crew is eager to hear your story and your wisdom, but I want to start with some questions to get to know you a little bit and your journey and how this all started. So, for those who may not be familiar, can you explain what guided journaling actually is and what personally led you to discover it as a healing tool in your own life?
Guided journaling. That is something I had never heard of a day in my life until I had to use it. Guided journaling is where someone gives you prompts to answer. As opposed to regular journaling when you open up a notebook and just start writing. That's what I used to do, and I found that it didn't work for me. I didn't like it. It made me mad because I didn't know what I was doing. So when I was introduced to guided journaling by my therapist, we identified what my issues were, and then she developed some questions
Okay.
to answer based on what my issues were. And once she did that, journaling became easy. And I'm like, oh, goodness, okay, I like this. I can do this. So I took that and I started making my own prompts for myself once I recognized what my issues were. And they helped me to overcome a lot of things that I didn't even know. Like I had so much stuff buried inside of me that I had no idea until I started answering those questions. So now I do that for other people. So I love guided journaling because it helps so much.
How long have you been doing it?
Since 2018.
Okay. And do you have to kind of get in a meditative state first, or what does it look like?
No, I like even myself, I set the atmosphere for it. So what I do, I come into my wellness room sometimes, or sometimes I'm in my bedroom. I either put on some healing frequencies, healing sound frequencies, or gospel music, whatever the mood I'm in. And I, light a candle, love the candles, just set the atmosphere and, some wine maybe, or tea maybe, or whatever, something to drink, and just answer the questions, and they just flow easily. It flows so much easily when you know what you're answering instead of having to guess.
Right. Yeah. I love that wellness room. I love that you call it your wellness room.
It
That's
is absolutely a wellness room. I have a sofa bed in here, a massage table. I have a meditation pillow. I have all of my stones in here, music, you name it, I got it in here.
What's a meditation pillow?
It's one of these big old pillows that you sit on, so it helps you with your posture.
Okay.
And, I use it for yoga as well because I have a big butt. So I have to I have to use it so it won't hurt my back. I use it for all kind of stuff, but yeah, it's a pillow that you sit on, and it helps you keep your
Okay.
posture and helps you be comfortable because no telling how long you're gonna be sitting there.
Yeah. Interesting. I'll have to look into that. So, at what point did you realize that journaling wasn't just an outlet, but it was a roadmap to healing?
Ooh, it was when I started answering my own questions. That caused a shift for me. I wasn't just venting anymore because it's one thing to vent and start, what they did, da 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 da. But I was recognizing patterns. It helped me to recognize patterns. It helped me to hear my inner child. I used to not believe in inner child. I was like, oh, that's crap. That ain't real. Yes, it is. It is very
Yes,
real.
it is very real.
you know, and finally giving a voice to the parts of me that I had been silencing. Like I didn't know that I was silencing myself so much. So the guided journaling helped me to let all of that stuff out, and it helped me to make decisions with clarity instead
Mm,
of fear. And it
yeah.
didn't help me survive; it showed me how to heal.
And when you're writing, do you know what you're writing or do you not really, does it not register till later and then you read it?
Both. It just
Yeah.
depends on what the question is. It's different when you're talking about what it is you've been going through, but once you write it, put pen to paper. That's why my clients, that is a non-negotiable. Pen to paper, you're gonna write because you can have this idea in your head, but once you write it out, all kinds of stuff comes out that you didn't even know was there. It's like some kind of connection between your brain down to your arm, down to the pen, to the paper. It's like, wow, I didn't even know that. So when we go back and reflect, they're like, who is this person? Or I didn't know this was going on. I know that happens for me a lot. It helps to go back and reread what you wrote previously so you can recognize how you were then versus how you are now. Because a
Yeah.
lot of people can't. You know how when you lose weight and somebody else tells you, oh, I'm like, no, girl, I didn't. The same thing, sometimes people can't see that they have grown or are healing until they go back and read what they wrote previously.
Yeah. I love just using the pen because I always tell my clients, take your pen back. Like
Yeah,
you're right. You need to write your own story. Stop letting other people write
exactly.
your story. And so
Exactly.
I love
Yeah.
putting that pen to paper.
Hmm.
You went on to create your own healing method and even authored a best selling book, Quiet is Kept. What inspired you to turn your personal healing into a program that helps others?
Well, it was because I knew I wasn't the only one walking around. That was the main reason why I even started doing what I do because at the time when I was going through it, I felt like nobody else was going through this. I'm all alone. And then I realized, okay, no, you're not alone. You just don't have anybody to help you. So many of us were high functioning, but secretly unraveling. And so I turned my pain into a program because healing shouldn't be gate kept. I want everyone to know, yes, you could do this. And quiet is kept was my way of saying that here's what helped me, and maybe it'll help you too.
Yeah,
If I could come back from what I tried to the if I could come back from what tried to break me, then so can you.
yeah. I think so many people feel alone in
Yes,
whatever they're going through.
yes,
And if we don't step out and show people that you aren't alone, and there's all these tools out here, that's why I'm doing this podcast because I just want to show people how many things are available because what works for me might not work for somebody else.
exactly.
Your healing combination's different, than anybody else.
Right,
There's so many tools out there, besides traditional, avenues
right.
that are really, really helping people now. So,
Yeah.
yeah. For those who may not know, can you explain the difference between just journaling and guided journaling? And like, what does that process feel like? Like you said, you were stuck with just using the journaling, trying to, use not having the prompts. So what is the difference for that?
Journaling is like letting your thoughts run wild. It's a free for all, but guided journaling, that's intentional. It's asking your mind and heart specific questions to help you get unstuck and to uncover truth and to heal in real time. And it's the difference between wandering and then journeying with purpose.
Yeah.
When I first started just regular journaling, I was like, why am I writing this down? I already know what happened. And it was just making me mad. but
Yeah.
it was a free for all. I didn't know what I was doing. It wasn't intentional, but with guided journaling, it is intentional. Like for example, if I am journaling about self-esteem, I have specific questions regarding self-esteem that helps me to answer those.
Yeah.
And it uncovers a lot because, like I said, a lot of people just don't realize what's going on
Right.
until they see it on paper.
Yeah. I feel like it sounds like when you just sit down without the prompts, it could end up being like a venting session,
Yes,
where the prompts are to help you get that healing
exactly.
instead of
Exactly.
staying stuck in the venting process.
Exactly.
Yeah. You
That's
said that guided journaling helps people unpack emotional pain, make sense of their patterns, and reconnect with their truth. Can you walk us through what that might look like in someone's life?
Absolutely. So imagine someone feels like they're always self-sabotaging in relationships. So, and I know a lot of us do that. So through guided journaling, they uncover that their fear of abandonment started in
Mm,
childhood and that
yeah.
they've been overcompensating ever since. So that
Yeah.
awareness shifts everything. So now instead of repeating that cycle, they can choose healing. And that's the power of guided journaling. It helps you to stop blaming yourself and start understanding yourself.
That's amazing. I can imagine that it's kind of a quick path to healing because you're
Absolutely.
asking these pointed questions instead of just like flailing around like you were saying and not knowing
Exactly.
and not having a direction. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Many listeners might feel stuck or overwhelmed with journaling. Where should someone start if they want to try guided journaling but don't know how to start?
First and foremost, you have to be ready to be honest. You cannot
Mm,
lie to yourself. We lie to ourselves all the time, but when you're using guided journaling, you have to be honest with yourself. You don't need a fancy journal. You don't have to have perfect handwriting. You just need a question that cuts through that noise. Like, what am I pretending not to feel?
yeah,
And then let
totally.
it feel.
Yeah.
Right? And then you start, and people think, I don't know why people think that when they hear the word journaling or guided journaling, they think it's a all day process. You could journal 5 minutes a day.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a whole long drawn out thing. 5 minutes, set a 5 minute timer. Right. Answer the question. And I always say, don't aim to fix it all in one entry.
Mm,
It's just you aiming to face it.
yeah. People are scared to
Yeah.
heal. They're
Yeah.
afraid to open Pandora's box. They're not sure what's going to come out. Can I handle it? And I don't know if
Absolutely.
you've, seen this in your clients, but I always tell my clients if something comes up, you're ready to look at it. Like nothing's
Exactly.
going to come up. You got to trust yourself and,
Yeah.
your inner knowing that if it comes up, you're ready to look at it. You have the tools to deal with it.
Yep.
And, but you still have control over that. If you don't want to, you don't have to, but just know that it's time. Like you're here to heal, you find
Exactly.
that same thing.
And that's where the support comes in because if you are trying to do this on your own, you're going to want to shut the journal and be like, okay, forget it. I don't want to do this. I don't like this. I don't like how it makes me feel. But when you have support systems in place like you and I, then we're able to guide you through that and talk you through that so that you won't want to quit because it is healing is not pretty at all. It's not.
No, no.
It's not.
I
And
know. That's the other thing is people are like, I'm supposed to feel better, and it's like, and you will.
yeah,
You
eventually,
will.
not today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe you feel good today and tomorrow you crying
Yep.
on the floor. It
Yeah.
happens. That's what healing is. You have your
Yeah.
good days and your bad days.
People have expectations, I think, that are sometimes not based
Human,
on yeah, yeah, the human experience. It's like it
right?
took you, how old are you? It took you 45 years to get here. Do you think, in 2 sessions you're gonna, I mean, it's just
No,
yeah,
that's
it's
the
gonna take
session,
a
honey.
while.
It
Yeah.
takes a while. Yeah,
Yeah.
it took me a whole year to be able to do this on my own, even before I started my business. So it's not overnight.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's a lot of
definitely.
journaling, a lot of crying, a lot of pausing. I don't want to say quit because there was something like, "Oh, okay, I don't want to do this no more. This is too heavy." But
Yeah.
I got back up because I said, I'm tired of being stuck here. I need to move
Yeah.
forward. So yeah, it's
Definitely have to
learning
be
for a
sick and
reason.
tired of being sick, feeling sick and tired. You
Yes,
have to be like done with it. I'm done with it.
right.
Because it is painful to go through that
Mhm.
healing process and look at yourself,
Right.
and have to take
Nobody wants to
responsibility.
exactly. Nobody wants to do that. because
Yeah.
we all walk around here making people think we're perfect, and we are not. We're
Yeah.
human. We have done good things. We have done not so good things. We've said things, and it's like, oh my God, I've been lying to all these people and myself all this time, and it's like, now I gotta face the truth. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard. It's very hard to admit you're not perfect.
Yeah. I always tell people it's short-term pain, but you're going to let go of that long-term
Yes,
suffering that you've had
exactly.
this whole time. So it is totally
Exactly.
worth it.
Yeah.
What's one journal prompt that's truly changed your life personally and why?
Ooh, let's see. I think one that sticks in my head is that what am I still holding on to that's already ready to let go of me?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why you keep holding on to this and it's already let go of me? And that one had me crying. It forced me to be honest about, relationships,
Yeah.
identity, and versions of myself that I had outgrown. And,
Mm.
sometimes healing is grief in disguise. So that's the pump right there. That's the one that always would get me.
Yeah. Yep. And I just started using something similar like that with my clients, and I asked them for part of their homework,
Mm,
what did your childhood teach you about yourself that
mm.
is no longer true?
Right.
You know, what are you still holding on to? These self-limiting beliefs that just aren't true. And it's
Exactly.
amazing what comes up, you don't even think about. You're like, oh, that was a long time ago. I'm good.
No, you're not, or
Yeah,
else you wouldn't be here.
right. So you use the phrase emotional accountability in your work. What does that mean and why is it so essential for the healing process?
Well, emotional accountability means owning your triggers, your reactions, and your healing. Not everything is your fault, but
Yeah,
your healing is your responsibility.
yeah,
And it's essential because without accountability, you stay in those cycles. And with it, you start to break them.
yeah. That's huge. That is
Hmm.
huge.
Yep. Gotta
Not
be.
fun, but it's
Oh no, definitely not fun. But let's face it, most of the important things in life that we have to go through, it's not fun. Just like
yeah,
having a kid, that ain't fun.
yeah.
When you're in labor pushing and all that and in pain, that ain't fun, but the reward after it, you get this beautiful baby. And
Yeah,
then it's all great until they turn two. And then it ain't
yeah,
fun no more.
yeah. Yeah, it's almost like you're birthing your accountability and who you really are and um, to live the life that you were meant to live, your purpose and a life that you love.
And it's so worth it though. It's so
Yeah,
worth it.
yeah, definitely. How does your program help people shift from survival mode to living their best life? Because I know you do coaching, so I'm sure you
Yeah,
have a lot of tools in your tool bag.
absolutely. We start by naming what survival mode has cost them. And then, we unpack the weight that they've been carrying and why they thought they had to carry it.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing to ask. What are you carrying and why did you think you had to carry it? And
Mm,
so through the prompts and the coaching and community, we create space for a person to feel safe enough to feel again. And that's when you start living and not just existing. My goal is to have my clients feel. And
mhm.
sometimes they don't want to feel, but you got to feel to heal.
Yeah, you're not used to checking in. We're always used to checking out and staying in survival mode to keep
Exactly.
going.
Yep,
And
yep. Not
people
over
don't know.
here.
Yeah, they don't know how to do it. And then the kids these days that have their faces in their phones, they're so checked out.
Yes,
It's like so
absolutely.
scary. I'm just like, what's going to happen when it's going to catch up to them eventually.
Exactly. Yeah.
Going
And then
to
they're going to be a mess. And then people like us are going to have to fix them or not fix them, but you help them to
help them.
heal.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
when you were talking about the cost, that's what I always tell my clients too. I'm like, what does it cost? Because they're like, how much is your, sessions and stuff? And then you tell them and they're like, oh my gosh. And then I'm like, but what's it cost you from,
Exactly. The same thing I do is like, come on now, you've been paying a price
yeah,
emotionally for all these years. That's expensive, way more expensive than what I could do for you at my
yeah,
price. Like,
yeah,
come on.
yeah.
I've learned that people invest in things that make them feel good. They don't want to invest in something that's going to hurt at first and then eventually make them feel good.
It's
Unless
true.
it's surgery like BBLs and boob jobs.
Yeah, yeah.
That hurts,
Yeah,
but you do it anyway because of the end result you're going to get.
exactly.
No
Yeah,
difference in emotional
no
healing.
different. So true.
Hmm.
So how, if someone comes to you, what does that look like? What does the intake look like? Do you have them fill out a questionnaire or anything, and then how do you decide like what steps to help them?
I do have an assessment. I have them complete the assessment, and based on the assessment, it's either yes, I can help you, or I refer them. Like, because I'm
Okay.
not a therapist, I am a master certified mental health coach, and there's a difference. So, based on the answers from the assessment, that tells me whether they need an actual therapist or I can work with them. And let's say I've had a couple of people, based on their responses, are like, oh, thank you for, wanting to work with me. However, I feel like, a therapist will be best for you at this time. Go to therapy first, and then you could come to me and you could have therapy and coaching simultaneously. It's not one or the other, it could be both, but I want you to
Yeah.
go to therapy first. Or I'll have someone who is perfect for what I do, because I'm not one of those that coddle. I do not coddle. Most times, some people, not all people, but sometimes my clients, I get the clients that I have to cuss out every now and again. So, I'm going to cuss at you and be like, look, you know, we're not doing this, because they're used to somebody coddling them. And I don't do
Hmm.
that. I give tough love, but with love. I'm
Hmm.
not mean, but it's like, look, dog, we're not
Yeah.
doing this. This is your path. We're getting over this. You have to get, I'm like a coach, like a
Yeah.
football coach.
Hmm. So, how does your program help people shift from survival mode to living their best life?
I make them be honest with themselves. Like, that's first and foremost. Don't come in here lying, because I'm going to call you out on it. We start by naming what survival mode has cost them. Like,
Mm,
okay, you've been in survival mode. Look what this has cost you. And then we unpack the weight that they've been carrying and why they thought they had to carry it. Like, okay, why were you carrying this? Why? Because you're the oldest daughter, or you're the only child, or whatever the case may be. And so through prompts and coaching and the community, I make them feel safe to heal. I always say, that's the first thing I always say, especially when I'm in group settings. This is a safe space. You're not going to be criticized. You're not going to be judged. First person ever I find that is judging or being critical, I kick them out expeditiously, because it's hard enough to admit these things, and then you're admitting it in a group full of strangers, essentially. And I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable. So I want them to know that there's healing in community.
yeah.
It's not just me talking, it's everybody talking, everybody telling. And I spill my tea as well. I'm not just sitting there just asking questions and listening. No, I tell my stories, because I
Hmm.
want everybody to feel, safe.
Yeah. Well,
So
your clients always think that you've arrived and you're living your best life and everything's good. And I'm like, no, I'm a client. I'm a client as
right,
well as a, practitioner. It's like I'm still on the journey too. The journey is the
exactly.
destination for me. There is no
Exactly.
destination. Like
And,
this
and
is
I
it.
let I let them know that, I'm still going through my healing journey. I'm just farther along than you are. So that's why I'm coming back to
I
get
have the tools. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Talk about your book a little bit.
Ooh, my book. First of all, I did not intend on writing a book. That is first and foremost. I did not. All I intended on doing was coaching, doing journals. I have a line of guided journals. So for people who want to, do it by themselves, or, with therapy or whatever. And I had my mentor say, "Where's your book? Why haven't you written a book? People need to hear your story." And I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to write this on paper. And that made it real for me. It took me a year to write my book. The name
Mm,
of my book is Quiet as Kept. And in my community, when you hear the words quiet as kept, that means you're talking about something that you're not supposed to be talking about.
mm,
I grew up in an environment, and where you don't tell people your business. What goes on in the house stays in the house, or keep it to yourself. Push through it. We got stuff to do. You got to take care of this, and this. You come last. So, and that's what essentially led me to have a nervous breakdown. So in my book, I talk about, first of all, before I even started, my healing journey, I had no idea that I went through any traumas.
mm,
So I did not know that was considered trauma. So through therapy and guided journaling and coaching, I learned that I went through child abuse. I was a teen mom. I had my first child when I was 14. Didn't know that was traumatic, and I just made a lot of bad decisions as a kid. Didn't have any guidance, I was sneaky as hell, like all teenagers, but I was doing the most. And I didn't realize that those things were traumatic until I started going through my healing journey. So I talk about all of that in my book. I talk about everything. I don't sugarcoat anything, and I've had a lot of people who have read my book tell me that, I'm glad you wrote this. I see myself in this,
Mm,
so they know that they're not alone. Yeah, because a lot of people don't tell their business. A lot
yeah.
they make you think that everything is all peachy keen and perfect, and it's not. I tell it all, from the good, the bad, the ugly. I talk about things I did that wasn't good. I talk about things that were done to me that wasn't good. And then toward the middle and end of the book, I talk about how I overcame it,
Mm,
things that I went through to overcome it and how they can too. So I don't just leave you hanging there. I tell you, okay, I went through all of this and you probably did too, but this is what I chose, because there was, when I first started my healing journey, I was given medication. I'm like, I don't want that. Not that I'm against medication. I just knew I didn't want it for myself.
yeah.
And I wanted to figure out why, because I had a nervous breakdown. I had a nervous breakdown in 2018. So I talk about that. And that's what led me, to go to my doctor and say, hey, something wrong with me. I done lost it. I done went nuts, and she was like, oh, no, you're depressed, and this is during the time she sent me to a psychiatrist. And I'm like, Black people don't go see psychiatrists, because I've never known anyone to go and see one. And
Yeah.
that's because they weren't talking about it. So I talk about it. Yes, I went to go see a psychiatrist. Yes, I went to a therapist. I actually went through three before I found the one that helped me.
Yeah.
And, I talk about all of that in my book just so people will know that you are not alone. I went through this too, and this is how I came out. And if I can overcome all this stuff, you can too.
Yeah. What was the point where you were sick and tired of feeling sick and tired and decided to go on the healing journey? What made that happen?
When I had the nervous breakdown, I woke up on a regular Sunday morning. I remember it was a Sunday. I just don't remember what day, but I woke up and I literally saw a black cloud over my head. I was like,
Mm,
is. Like Charlie Brown, the character on Charlie Brown who had the black cloud, that's what I felt like. And I lost control of all of my emotions. And so whatever emotion came out, that's what you were getting. I couldn't stop it, whether it was me crying, cussing you out, being sad, being withdrawn, and it was just a roller coaster. And I'm like, okay, that's enough of this. Okay, let me go see what's wrong. And initially, I went to my primary care doctor because I'm thinking I'm going through menopause or something, knowing good and well I was too young to be going through it. But hey, you never know. So I went to my doctor saying, hey, I can't control this. Why am I doing this? I'm in her office crying. And she's like, oh, it sounds like you're depressed. I need you to go see a psychiatrist. I'm like, am I crazy? Because the first thing you think of
yeah.
when you hear psychiatrist is, okay, you're crazy. But no, that's not the case. And, the psychiatrist tried to give me antidepressants. I'm like, why am I acting like this? And how can I not do this again?
Yeah.
And that's when she sent me to a therapist. And from there, it was, okay, we're going to find out what's going on so this won't happen again. And so I chose the holistic route. I didn't want medication because medication does not help you. It only makes you be quiet. Medication doesn't, tell me this is why you're acting like this. This is what happened. It doesn't do that. Therapy
Mhm.
did, and guided journaling did. My last therapist, best therapist in the world, I will recommend her to everybody. Uh, she taught me how to use guided journaling as a tool. So I started with that. And I did that for a year, and then she broke up with me. I always tell people she broke up with me because she was like, okay, Shawnti, you have the tools that you need. You know what you're doing. I don't want you to use me as a crutch. So I'm going to have to let you go. And I was like, oh, okay, break it up with me, please. That's what I felt like. But she was like, no, we'll check in every 3 months. We're going to check in until you don't need me anymore. And the beauty of that is now we work together. We're colleagues.
Yeah.
And I tell everybody, she's a therapist, I'm the coach. We work together now, and she knows everything. She knows all my business, and she knows what it took for me to get to where I am now. And um, I love it. I love what I'm doing, and I love helping people because I don't want anyone to ever go through what I went through. So
Yeah.
I make it a point to, I'm not against medication. If that's what you need, that's fine. Don't bank on staying on it forever because it's not going to help you. You need to actually identify, feel, and heal from whatever it is that you've gone through.
Yeah. We push a lot of that under the rug as, oh, that was no big deal.
Yes, we do
You
that,
know?
especially as women, because we got our spouse, we got work, we got kids, we got all this other stuff we got to be great for, and then we neglect ourselves.
Yeah.
So my objective is put yourself first. Choose you. I don't care who is in your life or who is around you. Choose yourself first. And we identify what that looks like because, some people, when you tell them, no, I choose me, they think you're being selfish. Well, you are in a way because how can you be any good to anyone if you are not good to yourself first?
Yeah, that's so true.
Hmm.
You speak a lot about reclaiming your voice and setting boundaries. Why do you think so many people, especially women and people of color, struggle with this?
Because we were taught to be palatable and not powerful, to make other people comfortable at the expense of ourselves. And when you have survived being quiet and using your voice feels dangerous, but I teach people how to reclaim your voice and to use it as their greatest form of protection and liberation. Because we're women, we're powerful, and we should walk in that unapologetically, no matter who doesn't like it. And I always tell people the minute you start, I don't care if you silence yourself for 30, 40, 50 years. The minute you start, speaking up and using your voice, the people who don't like it, they're going to go away. They're going to fall out of your life.
Yep.
And the ones who are like, yes, about damn time, they're going to celebrate you and encourage you to keep doing that. And those
Yeah,
are your people. That's how you know who your people are.
exactly. Yes,
Mhm.
definitely. What do you say to someone who feels ashamed for struggling or feels like healing is too hard or that it's too late to start healing?
First of all, I tell them, baby, you are not broken. You are buried. And
Mm,
healing is how you come up for air. There's no shame in struggling. We all have at some point. The shame is in pretending that you're fine when you're actually not. And healing isn't easy, but neither is carrying that pain every day. That is not easy. And one of them leads to freedom. So if you want to be free, you need to go on and start healing because you
yeah,
will be free. You will be surprised how free you feel and how light you feel. It's great. It's great over here. Come on over there here on this side.
yeah. I think a lot of people just need to be heard and
Hmm.
validated too.
Yeah,
When you look at them and you say that must have been really hard, and then it's like, yeah, that was really hard. I didn't think about
absolutely.
it. Yeah, I love that part of my job, helping people, listening and being that sounding board because a lot of people don't have that.
Exactly.
Um,
Or
and
they
this
have
and being
somebody.
validated in what they went through.
Exactly. Or, they have people I always tell people, when you are talking or you're going through your healing process, your support system, 9 times out of 10 is not your family. Because your family or your good girlfriend or your friend from kindergarten or whatever, those aren't your people because 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you what you want to hear
Yeah,
instead of telling you, what's real. That's why you got to get around strangers and, other people so you can see, you're not the only one because, we always think we're the only one going through whatever we're going through. But when you get around other people who have gone through similar things and you're actually able to be heard and you're actually able, yes, your feelings are valid. Yes, this happened. I understand. Let me show you how to get through that. And it's
yeah.
not about getting over it, getting through it so that you can move on and be your best self. Because some people think they're walking around being their best selves and they're not
No, they're not.
until they come and see one of us. And they're
Right.
hold
Um, yeah. And to family and friends that or people have been friends with you for a long time, they expect you to be that same person that they've always known and loved. And so a lot of times that's hard when you start growing and changing and kind of turning into your authentic self. And like you said,
exactly.
at that point, they have to decide whether, you know, or you have to decide whether they're going to stay or go, at that point.
Sometimes they
Although,
fall off by themselves.
yeah,
Like, there's because they don't, because when you are in your healing process and you're evolving, it forces them to look at themselves. And
yeah,
if they're not ready, they're going to leave. They're
it's
going to leave your life.
uncomfortable. Oh,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, because you're
Yep.
gonna, yeah, absolutely make them uncomfortable, and they're
Yep.
not ready for that, so they're
Yep.
gonna leave your life.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, at that point, you choose: are you gonna choose yourself, or are you gonna choose them?
Yeah.
Choose yourself always.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have a success story that you could share with us?
Yes, I have a client. Her name is Quay. I love Quay. She has been my best client, and I always tell her I'm gonna always talk about you. When she came to me, she was the epitome of a people pleaser.
Mm.
I have never met anyone who neglected themselves. And she was with me for 6 weeks. All it took was 6 weeks with her for me to get her to understand, choose you. You know, the first session we had, she was in tears and felt horrible and felt guilty about having to choose herself. But over the sessions, I was able to help her realize that she is most important in her life, especially when you're single with no kids. You should be out here running around in a bathing suit, living your best life, not sitting here crying and struggling because you are busy trying to please everyone else. You can't do that.
Yeah.
And I was able to shift her mindset. And now, I check in with her. Once you encounter me, it's not just the coaching sessions and then you're gone on your own. Nope, I follow up. I stay in your mix. I make sure, hey, how you doing? Are we still? Yes, no, we go together. Once you come with me, we go together. I am not going to just drop you off and be like, okay, see you around next time you have an issue. No, I keep in touch. And so, she is doing wonderfully. She's moving. She moved to one city and stayed because she felt like she needed to take, and she was the youngest child, only girl, and she felt like she needed to stay by her mom because her dad died. I got a responsibility. Go live your life. Even her mom would tell her, "You don't have to stay here." But she felt like she had to protect her mom. No, ma'am, we're gonna get up and we're gonna move. We're gonna travel. We're gonna do the. She by week 4, she was traveling.
Wow.
She was going on those vacations that she didn't want to go on because she felt bad about leaving her mom. I said, "Your mama a grown ass woman. You are too. Go live your life." And
Yeah.
she's living her life, and I'm so proud of her.
That's awesome. So to wrap up, if someone from the Karma Crew is listening right now and quietly suffering, feeling like they've lost themselves, what would you say to them right now?
I would tell them to come home to themselves. Like, come home to yourself. You don't have to have all the answers. And you don't need to be strong today. You just need to take the first brave breath and say, I'm not okay, but I want to be. Because it's
Mhm.
absolutely okay to not be okay. And that's where the healing begins, when you admit that to yourself. And you don't have to do it alone. I'm walking with you.
How can listeners find you? They want to work with you, see what you're doing.
To work with me, you can find me on my website, ShawntiRefuge.com. I am on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Shawnti Refuge Journals. I'm everywhere. Google me, Shawnti Refuge. You will find me. I'm not hard
Love
to.
your last name. That's so cool.
That's actually my last
Perfect.
name. People always ask, is that your real name? Yes, it is on my driver's license. That is my last name, Refuge.
Perfect. That is
So,
so
yes,
good.
refuge meaning home. I'm your home. Come home, baby. Come home.
And I assume you do this over Zoom.
Yes, I do. I do it over Zoom. I am in Texas, so I do in person, like when I do workshops or speaking engagements, I do it in person, and I travel as well. So I do it all, but mostly on Zoom. Yes.
Okay. And you are in the Houston area, correct?
Yes, I am in Houston, Texas, Southwest Houston, Texas.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your heart and your healing work with us today. I know that the Karma Crew is going to go away with a lot of takeaways, and I hope that if you're interested, you're listening, you feel a pull to work with Shawnti, all her links will be in the show notes.
Thank you
Thank,
for having me,
yeah,
Melissa.
thanks
I
so
appreciate
much.
it. Thank you, Karma Crew.
If you're anything like me, you're walking away from this conversation with a clear sense of what's possible when you pause the performance and tell the truth to yourself. Shanti reminded us that healing doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes it starts with a single prompt and the courage to answer it honestly. If something stirred in you today, don't let it fade. Go deeper. Get in touch with Shanti. Her links are waiting for you in the show notes. Trust me, you'll want to hear more of her wisdom in your life. And if you're curious about deeper mind body healing, check out somatichealingjourneys.com, where I use somatic mindful guided imagery to help clients release trauma, connect to their inner wisdom, and uncover the unconscious patterns keeping them stuck. I would love to have a free consultation with you to see what your needs are and how somatic modalities can help. And hey, if you're a healer, coach, or expert with a powerful modality that you think the Karma Crew needs to hear about, I'd love to hear from you. Head to mindyourownkarma@gmail.com and send me an email. Let's get you on the podcast. And as always, remember to take what you need and leave what you don't. And always remember to mind your own karma. I'll see you next time.